Hello everyone, it's me Logan, and as you might have seen earlier today, the newest Smash Bros. Fighter, DLC fighter, got somewhat announced. We know the series they're coming from, is what I'm saying. It was announced in Nintendo Direct Mini. And so I figured I'd do an unscripted video right here, just talking about each of the characters from ARMS who could be the potential fighter, and going through saying who I think is not going to be in it, who might be in it, and basically throwing my hat in the ring to see if I can figure out who it is. So, let's move right on in. Starting with the list, Springman. He's the number one. He's like the main person from ARMS, I want to say. He's, on the cover and that stuff. But he's also in Smash already. He's an assist trophy, a Mii costume, and a spirit. We don't know about spirits for sure, if they do or don't deconfirm fighters. Most people think, oh, if you're a spirit, you cannot be a fighter for the DLC. We don't know if that's true or not, but generally, if it's an assist trophy, I very much doubt they're going to make that also a character. That would not work out great. So, I don't think Springman's going to be in it, as well as with his gameplay, it's like very basic, and one thing that's cool about ARMS is how strange the gameplay can get with the different arms, but all of his are pretty standard, so I don't think it's going to be him for those reasons. Next up is Ribbon Girl, who is basically the female main character. They're the two that were first shown off the game with when it was first revealed, but in Smash, she's already a Mii costume and a spirit, so again, that whole spirit thing. And Mii costumes, that's also kind of up in the air. A lot of times they do the Mii costumes in replacement for the characters, so she's pretty all-around like Springman. However, she has multiple dashes and jumps, and so we haven't seen a character that agile in the game, and it might not that agile other than like Kirby and Jigglypuff with their jumps and DDD, but like they also don't have the speed, so it might be kind of hard to balance to keep her like that, so who knows. I think she's likely not going to be it because of the Mii costume, and she's kind of plain, but she definitely has more of a shot than Springman. Next is Minh Jarrah, and he is a spirit in Smash, and he's speedy. He's basically a ninja in the game, and he can dash when he's hit, he's basically just going to be a waterless Greninja, and mixed with some of Sheik, I feel like, if he got in, or that'd be the basis of what they'd go off of, because literally Greninja's counter, it's the one where you get hit, and then he teleports away and then slams into whoever hit him. It's very similar to if you're blocking in ARMS and Minh Jarrah gets hit, he teleports away and then you get the chance to hit them. So I think he's very likely not going to be in it, just because he's too similar to two characters that are already in. They're basically who he is. After that is Master Mummy, who is not a spirit or anything, and he's very big and strong, and the way he fights in the game, I feel like it would be very similar to the way Ganondorf fought in Smash 4 and Brawl. A lot of big punches, strong punches. And so his special ability, though, in the game is healing. When he blocks, he can heal. So either, that would be a very broken ability to have. So I feel like either they would reduce it so much that it basically doesn't matter, you're healing, or they would just take it out, which would kind of, why do you even have him if you don't have his big thing of being a mummy who can heal? So I think he's probably not going to be the character, but, wouldn't be super surprised if he is. Next is Min Min, who, she is a spirit in the game, but she's a very popular character from ARMS. She's interesting. She actually has a kick move that she can use to attack people or to stop their attacks. And if she gets a grab successful, or a throw successfully, she can turn her arm into a dragon that shoots lasers. So, just listening to that there, it seems like she's got a very strong basis of moves to pull from. Also, like with the Smash Bros. Roster, we don't see a lot of women in there, and we don't see a lot of villains in there, so that'll come up later. But, Min Min would be a very solid character. I think, the spirit thing, there's really no basis. Nintendo has never said yet that spirits deconfirm someone. So, if they do deconfirm someone, obviously she's not going to be it. But since we don't know, I think she's got a really good shot. She's got, she is popular. She's one of the more popular ARMS characters. There's some who I didn't even remember until I looked them up for this video, and I have the game. I got it on launch. But Min Min, she'd be very good, very fun. and she's got a very unique moveset is what I'm saying. Like, you know, I talked about Minh Jarrah and Master Mummy, how they were already similar to past characters. She's got something going for her with how unique it is. So I'd say she's, if the spirits don't do anything, she has a very good chance of being the character. Up next is Mechanica, who doesn't actually have special arms. She uses a mechanical suit, and she uses the suit. She's able to fly with it, and also she fights with it. So one thing is, she's very similar to D.Va, and I'm not saying that D.Va is going to be in, or that an Overwatch character is going to be in, or even a Blizzard character, but like, I don't know, I feel like Nintendo isn't going to do that really, because also in the announcement they said this fighter's arms can stretch. These aren't her actual arms, and you know, it also, there are other characters later who don't use their arms, so, you know, that might just be Nintendo wording it for the sake of simplicity. Not like these fighters' arms or hair or suit can stretch, because, you know, that way we'd know if they use something specific. So, I think she's very likely not going to be it, because she's also not that special, like, design-wise and, you know, fighting-wise. And that's one thing that's arms is really cool. It's got very cool designs. It's got really cool designs, actually. And the characters can each do unique things, so I feel like that's something they're going to want to stick to when they bring it into Smash. So probably not anything here. So probably not Mechanica. Next up is Twinti, who she was a spirit, but she's in the same boat as Min Min. She's very popular outside of Smash, or outside of ARMS for some of her other accessories, to say the least. But she's in the game. She's a very balanced fighter, but she can also slow other attacks from opponents, and she can move fast past those attacks, kind of Quicksilver Days of Future Past thing. But she also doesn't use her arms, she uses her hair, so I feel like she has a good chance of being in it, but the fact that she's a spirit and also doesn't use her arms, she uses her hair, and also, like, that's her main shtick, her main ability is very similar to Bayonetta's Witch Time. I'm feeling like, you know, she still has a good chance, and like it might be her, but I don't feel like it is. Especially, the game is called ARMS. They're not gonna. I feel like they're not gonna use a character who doesn't actually use their arms. So I feel like it might not be Twinti. But up next is the robot cop, Bite and Bark. It's another duo, which there are already a fair amount of those in Smash, and I feel like it wouldn't be very easy to program or kind of balance the character, because Bite and Bark is like a small robot dog that goes and shoots a singular arm, but it can also be jumped off of, and Bite can block hits, and I don't know. I mean, it could be similar to Ice Climbers, who knows, but, you know, I feel like it's probably not going to be Bite and Bark, because they're also not super, you know, they're not the biggest in arms, so, I don't think it's going to be them for the slot, although it would be interesting seeing how they tried to balance that, because with Ice Climbers, you know, the two are basically equal. With this one, you know, Bite is a lot stronger and does more than Bark, so it would be an interesting test. After that is Kid Cobra, who, like, he was in the base starting set, but who even friggin' remembers him? I didn't. He doesn't really do much. He's not very well known. He's very simple. He's very simple and similar to just a regular one, so there's really not much to say. I very, very highly doubt he'll get in. After that is Helix, who I think has a really good chance of being the fighter, because he's got a very unique playstyle, because he's just this, like, gelatinous goop dude. He can raise and lower his height, and his body manipulates as well, so he can dodge attacks and dodge punches. I think there's a lot they could do with that, and even when he, like, manipulates his body, he can, like, change how much he's attacking and how much he's defending. So I think he's got a really good shot. He's also pretty well known outside of the game, and, like, he'd just be a fun character to do. He's got a great design. So yeah, I feel like he's got a very strong chance as well. After that is Max Brass, who was the first, like, DLC dude. All the rest are DLC, free DLC though, for ARMS, and he's the champion of the ARMS League. He can buff up his body in size and strength, and under 25%, he's always pumped up, always buffed, and, like, his personality is somewhat similar to Captain Falcon. But the thing is, I feel like since we already had Terry, who had the go meter, you know, when he hit 100%, I don't feel like Max Brass is going to be in. He may be, I think Max Brass maybe could be in it, but I feel like here's my announcement prediction. If they do like a trailer announcement, which they probably will, I feel like it's going to be whoever the actual fighter is beating Max Brass or beating Headlock, who's like the villain who goes on Max Brass. But like, yeah, beating Max Brass and being the champion, and then, you know, they get the letter afterwards to Smash Bros. And they're like, oh, this new fighting tournament, you know, something like that. So yeah, I feel like he could be in it, but probably not overall. Next up is Lola Pop, who is the first new DLC, because Max Brass was, you know, the champion of the game. She's... A lot of these characters who aren't from the base roster, or the base game at least, are not as recognizable, because ARMS quickly had a drop-off in people playing it, so that's already one against her. And she can inflate herself for defense and to bounce around and block, which kind of weird, and like, I feel like it might be very disruptive during gameplay, so I could see what you could do there, but it's probably not going to be her. She's not anything super special, so yeah. After her is Sango, who is, again, not from the base roster, but he has an interesting, like, spirit that he can fuse with, and if he charges enough, and it can pop out in front of him and give him a different mask. They would probably just streamline it, maybe do, like, a Monado type thing where you can choose which mask, but they have different powers, different, like, you know, elemental strengths, so it could be interesting, but he's also not super memorable. I didn't remember him before. Again, not from the base roster is a big part of that. So I think, you know, probably not is, yeah, I feel like he might, you know, get a shout out in the back of the stage like some characters do in Terry's stage and Joker's stage, but probably not going to be the actual character. Next up is Springtron, who, like, I will put my money on it, he will not be the character on his own. He's literally just, he's just a clone or a robot duplicate of Springman, basically. So if Springman somehow did get the character slot, then I would almost guarantee there would be a Springtron costume. But on his own, it's not going to be Springtron as the character. Next up is Dr. Coyle, who's actually the last of the characters, and I think the most so out of all the DLC characters, she has a shot because, again, Smash Bros. Roster is missing a lot of women and a lot of villains. She's both of those. She's also unique because she's also always hovering, and she can go up and down and, you know, dash with her hovering, and then she can also go invisible for a little bit, which is a very cool, like, that could be something to throw off the gameplay. So yeah, I feel like, you know, she may be it, and, you know, I don't really feel like any of the non-base roster people are going to be it. I feel like out of those additional characters, she probably has the best shot. However, there's one last thing I need to talk about, and that is the idea that since a lot of the ARMS characters have very similar base fighting styles to each other, they might, you know, and they don't have major differences in abilities sometimes with certain characters, they might just do a Bowser Jr. and have each costume be a different character. And so that, I feel like that is also a very good chance of being it. But there's two different ways they could go about it. They could go about like the characters that are similar, or the characters that are different and just maybe make them all, you know, unique, or maybe just kind of make them all one character, just the different costumes. So if it was the similar characters, I feel like the costumes would be Springman, Ribbon Girl, Minh Jarrah, Min Min, Twinti, Kid Cobra, Max Brass, and Springtron, because those are all the very standard, like, you know, fighting people. Obviously, you know, some people have different things, but I feel like with those characters, you could get away with all just making them have basically the same roster. If they were going with different styles, either, you know, ignoring the styles or adding them in, which would be very impressive, I think it would be Springman, Ribbon Girl, Master Mummy, Min Min, Twinti, Helix, Max Brass, and Dr. Coyle. That's, you know, these are just my ideas. I also think one thing that would be interesting is, because with ARMS itself in the game, you have 3 choices for your left and right arm, 3 choices for each. And if they somehow work that into the character, I think that could be a very fun thing to do. It would pay respect to the game as well. I don't know if they will for sure, but that could definitely spice up gameplay. And each of the characters has their own arm, like, combination, like 3 arms that are specific to them, like those are their main arms. So you really could do that if they tried enough, but who knows? So yeah, that was my rundown of all the characters. If I had to say the characters I most likely think would be in it, I feel like it's going to be Min or Helix. Those are my two individual characters that I really do think have the chance to be the top spot, or the actual character slot. Although I think the multiple costumes is also a very, very likely candidate. So personally, I would prefer Min or Helix, because then you can focus on making the characters a lot more unique. But the multiple costumes could also be very fun, you know, because then you get, the roster is about 15 characters, I think. Then you get over half the roster, because there are 8 costume slots. So I think that could be a really fun way to appease the majority of people. It's also going to be interesting seeing what they do with costumes, because there are 4 costumes in the game already. So maybe if it's, you know, Min or Helix or another individual character, they'll use the base 4 from ARMS and then add an additional 4, which could be very fun. So yeah, let me know in the comments below who you think the ARMS character is going to be in. Did you like that it's an ARMS rep? Would you have preferred, you know, a third-party thing? Check out my video on my Smash predictions, which is mainly wrong, but, like, who knows? Technically, could be correct with the rest of them. I think there's just... I got Banjo-Kazooie right, although that was pretty obvious. I think there's enough slots that I could technically be correct for the rest of my picks, even though I really doubt it. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully the Smash announcement will come soon on who it officially is. I think the character release is in June. I believe they may have also said the announcement is in June, so who knows? But until next time, I'm Logan, and goodbye.